Here's 39 tips to fight better in Fortnite Chapter 7. The new Iron Pump has an incredibly fast pull-out time of 330 milliseconds, so these first few tips are ways that you can abuse that to be as fast mechanically as possible with minimal effort. If you've just placed a build and then edited right after that, you realize you still confirm this with your blueprint out. This means there's an additional delay because you have to press your shotgun bind. So if you want to be the fastest possible, you should place the build, pull out your shotgun, and then edit, as you can almost shoot instantly. This is why it's beneficial to not have your edit bind and your shotgun bind on the same finger, as you repeatedly have to push the shotgun bind right before the edit one. If you hold down your shoot button just as you're about to confirm the edit, this will also remove as much delay between editing and shooting as possible. So if you combine these last two tips, the fastest way that you could possibly shoot is to edit with your pump out and then hold down the shot. Once you get good at this, doing 50-50 window edits is actually very, very good because they often can't react fast enough and you can get a shot off and then reset. If they've already shot their shotgun shot, this will also mean that if they try to spray through the wall, they cannot get through at all because they're going to shoot through the gap. Sure, it might hit you with an AR bullet, but you can easily pump them. A funny side effect of this is sometimes when you try to do this, a player will hurdle through your window, as Cooper accidentally did here, but luckily he still managed to win the fight. On the flip side of this, you're also benefited by making much safer peaks too. Because the structure damage is much lower on this shotgun in comparison to the Sentinels than previous, once a wall is edited, it's very hard to retake it with your pump. So you should not try to edit as fast as possible. You should try to slow down by half a second, maybe even a tenth of a second, and just make sure that you're in the right position before you click confirm. In this example, Fishy holds the edit on the ramp, but waits a second to swing to the left before confirming. He's not trying to be as fast as possible, he knows he has the player fully boxed, and then he can swing back into it, hit the shot, and reset. Really basic movement, but it's more important now than ever because the other player cannot steal the wall with the pump. So you can hold your edit for a small time to make sure you have the perfect peak, or you can do a fast 50-50 and then reset. This shotgun basically gives you the option to do both when the Sentinel did not. If you're ever attacking the wall from an awkward left-hand angle, it's almost always best to do a bottom right 4-tile edit, because this can still cut off the line of sight from the other player. If you're going to place doubles over an opponent, you should do this diagonally onto the box that they're actually in. This is because as you drop down and place two walls on the inside, you're actually gaining peace onto 3 separate tiles rather than just the one that you think your opponent is going to go into. If you're the aggressive one in a fight, you don't actually need to build in hard mats. The reason for this is if you freshly placed a brick or metal wall and then immediately edited it, you realize it goes to extremely low HP, or it will be able to be AR or pump replaced. However, because wood starts at a higher HP, if you place a build and then edit it, it will actually have a higher HP and be harder to retake. Obviously, this isn't applicable in every scenario. If you're ramping up or defensively box fighting, obviously don't do this, but if you're trying to be quick, this can save your hard mats for later. Just because the shotgun has less structure damage doesn't mean you shouldn't shoot walls, but you have to do this in a very safe way. Here, Fishy hits his player for white, so he jumps down onto his wall. When he attempts to retake it, he fails to get the wall the first time, but his muscle memory is to pull out his shotgun so that if he got the wall when he edits, he'll be able to shoot him quickly, like our earlier tip. But because he failed to steal the wall, he then switches to his assault rifle to then spray, and eventually once the other player is holding, he switches back to his pickaxe and is able to steal it and kill him. So the muscle memory to build up is pretty simple. Wall replace, pull out your shotgun before you edit, attempt the edit, shoot to weaken the wall, and then switch to the AR to try and replace again. Because the bullet time's so fast, you can also edit reset and not hold the wall and just wait for them to shoot and then pump them back in return and then re-hold the wall afterwards. Something which is much more difficult with a slower pull-out weapon like the Thunder. Stop trying to full box people. Even when you watch the pros at the highest level, the amount of times that they actually fully box someone is very minimal. Most of the time, they're getting 1 or 2 build pieces between them, editing, and then with the fast pull-out can hit a nice shot. However, see a lot of people just try to get someone in the full box, get every single wall, every single cone, and because of that, they miss the opportunity to actually shoot them. If you have a gray or green pump, you have to shoot someone in the head to kill them when they have no shield, as both of these do under 100 damage. However, with the blue and above, you can go for a max body shot and still one pump them. If you ADS and crouch, your shotgun crosshair goes incredibly small, so if you're in endgame and looking from a safe peak, it basically makes sense to always crouch in ADS as you'll hit a higher damage shot. The hammer shotguns are actually pretty good if you're within a 1-tile radius, and a lot of people try to be too mechanical with them by trying to do a lot of edits and resets, but in reality, all you need to do is get on the right-hand peak and jiggle peek them like Fishy does here. When at a distance with these, a lot of players make the mistake of aiming right at the head, and as you can see, I can do 78 damage here. However, if you actually go slightly down to the upper chest, you notice I do much more consistent damage because more of the pellets are hitting the player, whereas when I'm looking up here, more of the bullets are just missing. The easiest ways to actually find high rarity shotguns are through rare chests, as there's an 11% chance to be purple and a 4% chance to be gold. The 515 kilo deadlift, as is a 3.17% chance to be purple, 6% chance to be gold, and a 33.3% chance to be mythic. And then also always keep an eye out on vending machines, because green is only 250 gold, blue is 500, and purple is 1000, which is actually quite easy to get. If you've had to disengage from a fight and you're weak, you can get a patch up for 200 gold from the mending machines, or a shield keg for 750 gold. Mending machines are visible on your map map when you're 400 meters away from them. So if you know their location and there's not one on the map, someone has destroyed it. You can also get ammo from the vending machines, as this only costs 100 gold, but you have to be lucky with the right spawn. So you should always check if the assault rifle one is spawned so you can get easy ammo. If you try to break them, you realize they're invincible. However, if you destroy the floors that they're standing on, they'll just disappear. If you're going to rotate away from this place and don't plan on coming back, it's a good idea to destroy them to grief other players. Because big pots seem so unbelievably rare this season, you need to be comfortable fighting with 150 HP. This makes it even more important to make sure you're making good peaks, because you can easily get one pumped. Sprint jumping and pulling out your shotgun currently has a massive delay, so you can't do sprint side jump and shoot. However, now because you can aim down sights whilst jumping, this will cancel out this bug, meaning you can pull out your shotgun and shoot much faster. Another way you can side jump shoot is by sliding just before you click jump. This will pull out your shotgun so it won't have the same bug as it does previously, but it also won't make you jump as high, which means that your side jumps can actually be a little bit more controlled and you probably won't fall to your death as much. Similarly, when you're jump peeking from behind a peanut butter, you can now ADS for more consistent damage. However, it is harder to hit the shot. This is also very effective if you're ever jumping over a wall to go for a shot, as the smaller crosshair has a much higher chance of dealing higher damage. Weapons like the Enforcer lose their first shot accuracy when you jump, but for some reason when you're jump ADSing with the pistol, it maintains this, making it very easy to hit shots at range. If you want to pressure the enemy as you're trying to close the gap, you can sprint, jump, and then ADS and start spraying, and then you can slide and jump again to repeatedly keep the forward momentum whilst pressuring them with high accuracy. There are a few weapons where rarity really matters. With the green pistol, it'll deal 24 damage and then 48 headshot. However, the blue will deal 25 body and 50 headshot. This means when you're going for a headshot with the green, you actually take 5 bullets in order to kill someone. However, it'll take only 4 with the blue. This is the exact same with the blue and the purple Deadeye assault rifle as well. This adds up when trying to wall replace. It'll take 7 shots to destroy the wall with a blue AR, but only 6 with the purple. Or it'll take 1 pickaxe and 4 shots with blue, or 1 pickaxe and 3 shots with purple. Small note, but the pistol is the only gun that has a 2 times headshot multiplier. So shoot them in the head. Despite the fact that the stats on basically every weapon is better than the Deadeye assault rifle, the fact that it has a scope means that almost every single pro is going to carry it. Through most of the tournaments, whether they're W key or not, the vast majority of pros are carrying it, especially in this meta where so many players are using the wingsuit to fly through the sky. Despite having a scope, the Hollow Rush SMG is horrible after 70 meters. However, under 30 meters, which is around 6 tiles, this thing almost has the highest damage per second of any gun, but it's also the easiest to use. However, because so many people are flying into the sky, they're further away, and therefore this thing isn't as effective. AR aim is probably one of the most important parts of fighting, full stop. That's really it. Just practice your AR aim, honestly. If you get knocked, you might as well spam the roll feature. You're not going to survive, but it might at least grief the player who killed you. To counter this, if you manage to get a knock, you should immediately box them up, because they are going to try to run away from you. And if this happens in an endgame, well, you've just lost your refresh and your siphon. Now, I can't get someone to confirm this, but it feels like sliding and jumping off of a negative gradient will actually push you further than it used to. This means you can do things like Cactus is doing here, where you sprint jump and slide off of this ramp and angle swap incredibly fast, which makes it very difficult to counter. Again, not sure if this has actually been buffed, but it just feels like it has. If you use the wingsuit, there is a delay before you can shoot. However, there is no delay before you can build. And if you pull out your builds right as you've landed, this will also cancel the roll animation you do, making it much easier to land in a specific spot. If you built too high in a fight and need to get down, you can cover your top with a bunch of floors and then use the wingsuit into this, and this will just drop you straight down to low ground.